Okay, now let us improve upon our Java applet. Okay, what if we want to allow the user to control and adjust the initial velocity of the ball or other things such as the initial position, right, while they are running the applet? What do we do? Right, so we notice that there are buttons at the bottom of this simulation window. Obviously a play button, can't do it now because it's not running, a reset button, right, and a window that seems to be us inviting the user to set the value. So we have to program this the behavior of these buttons. So we go back to the view, and now we are exploring the buttons panel. So we can see the play pause button, which is this one, the reset button, which is this one, the field label, which is VAR here, and the field window, which is this window here. Okay, so let us decide to set the initial velocity of the ball, right? So I'm going to allow the user to set the initial velocity. So in physics, the standard letter to represent initial velocity is U. So I'm going to right click the field label. First of all, I'm going to give the field label a proper name. So let's rename it as the U label, right? Just a name for this item. Okay, but what do we actually want this item to display on the actual simulation window? So we double click on it again to set the properties. So I'm going to, since we are going to use this to represent the initial velocity of the ball, and the common symbol used to represent that is U in physics, I'm going to call it U. Return, and you can see on the left hand side here the label has changed to U. I'm going to add a bit more space, right, and also down here a bit more space so it doesn't look so cramped. Okay, that's happy. Now I'm going to adjust the properties of this window here, this box that allows the user to key in the value. So once again, I'm going to give it a sensible name. Right click, rename, U underscore field, because this is the field that we are trying to control. Again, double click, and the variable we want it to link to is U, I guess, but this value is different from the actual velocity of the ball because it is something that the user can control halfway through running the applet. So instead of calling it simply V, I'm just going to call it V underscore set. Right, so what it means is that we use this to set the value of the velocity. Okay, the format, I can just, oops, something is wrong there. Oh, okay, the red box tells us that there is something wrong with the programming so far. Right, the reason is very simple. We have not declared this variable called vset. So I'm going to go back to the model variables and declare a new variable called v underscore set with an initial velocity of initial value of 0.0. Okay, so now if we go back to model and double click on the field label, sorry, the field for the box entry, data entry box, we find that the variable is no longer highlighted in red. Okay, the format is just how many decimal places. So I'm going to give it 0.0, and you can see that immediately now the field number is limited to 1 decimal place. Right, what happens when the user enters a new value for the speed and presses the enter key? Right, this is what happens under action. So we click on this button. What do we want to happen? Very simple, we want the velocity of the ball to take on the velocity that we've just entered. and that's it. Okay, we're happy with that. Save. Sorry, I ran it by mistake. Right. Okay, so sorry, the field label looks a bit small, so I'm going to resize it to make it longer. So horizontally I'm going to make it 30, vertically also 30. Is that big enough? No, let's set it to 60 by 30. How's that? Wait, why is nothing happening? Okay, now that's better. You can see it's now bigger, not so cramped. Okay, right, I'm also a bit unhappy with the reset button, because when I press the reset button, it runs the simulation immediately. So let me demonstrate. Click. It doesn't stop, so I'm not happy with that. Right, so I'm going to change the program of the reset button. Double click. So now you can see the action is simply to reset, to set it back to the starting condition. So I'm going to add an extra statement. Not only am I going to reset the program, I'm going to pause it. Right, so I'm not so rushed, right, and I'm running the Java applet. Okay, happy. Right, what next? Okay, let's try running that now. Okay, now the ball is happily bouncing away. So let's reset, and I'm going to set the value of the initial velocity to be 2.0. Right, so what this means is that when I run the program, the ball will go up, right, 2.0, right? Okay, now let's set to 5.0. Now the ball is really going to fly upwards first, before it comes back down. Oh dear, and then it starts bouncing. Okay, you can see that the ball has exceeded the vertical limit of the simulation of window, so I'm going to resize the drawing panel. Maximum height I can set to 3, and okay, and oops, I've made a mistake. Right. Okay, let's run that. Alright, so pause it, set the initial speed to 5, run. So you can see now the ball is flying towards the sky. Right, so, and of course we are able to make the ball fall down also, initially. Right. Okay, we're happy with that. Save it. Package it into the same Java applet file, and we are happy to go. Right, so you can see the right, so the Java applet we have just created is now available for use.